Hey guys, it's V Man from No Budget Productions, and with me today is Fred Richard. How are we doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. I see you got your signature cigar there.
I do. I'm out on the Smoking with Frogs set, which I want to thank you once again for having appeared on our podcast, our show a while back. In fact, we've adopted your motto. One of the things that you said on the show a number of times was "fail up," and we like my wife and I, as we're doing stuff now, we're like, fail up. Like we've adopted that motto. And it's really kind of fun.
Well, I was doing a thing tonight with Paul because we went through the Raincross footage. We went through episode 2. Um, what's the
Which is
name of
my
that?
favorite of the whole season. Like I love that episode.
What's the name of that one? Um,
Points unknown.
recommend- That's it. That's it. I'm always terrible with names. I always tell everyone that I'm terrible with names. That's why I'm always like, "Hey, brother," because I'm like, "Oh shit, what's his name?" Um, but we went through that one, and he quoted. I think it was your quote. I think he was talking about get it done in pre or something like that.
Yes, fix it and free. That's the one.
That's it. That's it. And I remember you had said that when I was on your podcast. I was like, "Yep, yep."
I have it still sitting on my desk since the show. I have an envelope that has that Fix It and Pre sticker, a Smokey the Frog sticker, and a Clan Dark Sale, which is my Pirate Troop sticker, in there with your address on it, ready to send. I just have not been to the post office. I'm going to try and go tomorrow before they close. They're only up to like 1 tomorrow. I'm going to try and get it tomorrow. If not, it'll be Monday. But I do have that sticker for you. And I gave one to Paul, and then I gave one to our new cinematographer, Zach, who's also an editor and could totally
Well,
appreciate
right
it.
on. Right on, man. Well, no rush. Get to it when you can. Like I understand, real life comes first, man. It's in this day and age. Yeah, I understand stuff comes up because in fact, you just reminded me now. I was supposed to last Tuesday send a share drive to my editor that because we had released a Constar documentary about maybe a month or two ago,
Hmm?
and he it was so large it takes his computer forever with the internet speed so he couldn't upload it with his internet speed. Otherwise, it would have taken like 3 weeks. So he's like, "I'll just send it to you in the mail." And I was like, "Oh, okay, awesome." He said, "Just send it back to me whenever you can." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." And I still haven't done that, so I've I've got to get that back to him. And I'm bad at sending shit in the mail because I have uniforms that I'm supposed to send people. And I'm always Mr. Forgetful because by the time I finally have time to relax, I'm like, oh, I just want to watch Netflix or watch The Office, like just
Right.
binge watch something. So, so since you're in my last conversation, you've actually watched your film for the after credits that you were
I
in
did.
for Dive.
Right.
I don't mind spoilers here, you because the way I see it is like people are going to watch if they're going to watch, they're not if they're not. So feel free to dive into spoiler stuff. What did you think of the performance of the entire film? What was good? What was bad? What did you think, man?
So actually, I really, really liked it. So I've watched a number of the Constar Chronicles, the short films you put up, and they're very hit and miss. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some are really great, and some are not so much.
Not so
This
good.
one is in, this one is in the really great category. I thought the performances were excellent. Uh, I could follow the plot, even though I've not watched all the Constar Chronicles stuff. I knew I could tell. It was a standalone enough episode that was going on, other than our post credit scene, which still, I don't know who Miss Spangler is. I don't. There's some stuff I don't understand that I'm
Yeah.
just kind of going along with. Um, but it was fun. It was fun to watch myself as Lieutenant Kyle, which I've never seen before. And actually, it's funny. I'm an air as Lieutenant Kyle on the After Credits Dive long before I think episode 2 comes out of Raincross, which is my
Right.
first appearance as Kyle officially. So it's kind of fun. I thought it was interesting. I'm excited for it to come out and hit the public. And again, I enjoyed it. The main act, the Starfleet admiral, is really looks like oh my god, comedian John. Someone I couldn't shake it. It saw like another famous actor, but it was really good. Um, I liked it. I thought really it was a very fun episode.
Well, that was one of the things I was going for with the like some of the films that I've done are kind of dark. They go to some some pretty grim places. And with this one, I was like, you know, after 100 and some films, like let's just have fun with it. So that's why I was like, let me grab the mullet wig and and put, give Frank the Elvis wig, and fuck it, let's just have some fun with this one, and then of course having Royce in it with the after credits,
Right.
before we get to the serious conversation, because of course in the after credits of all these recent films, it takes place in the Star Trek Picard era, where there seems to be some tension with Starfleet, some kind of almost kind of brooding to like a Civil War type vibe of, just a lot of tension,
Right.
So it was good to have someone from the Raincross, which is almost kind of what starts some of this stuff to a point, because Raincross was really kind of, at least from the fan film perspective, Raincross was kind of a jumping off point for some of the hostility, because you guys take Lieutenant Bell and kind of hightail it, and that's an important part of your guys's films, is kind of being outside of the Starfleet jurisdiction. You guys.
That is the whole plot of season 1. Basically.
What's up, man? Yeah. Oh, you shut up. All right, take care. See you at 1.
So I know we're not. This isn't being broadcast live, but what time is it where you're at right now? Because it's 1 a.m. here in Southern California, so it's got to be even later where you're at.
3 in the morning. Yeah, and there's nothing going on, so it's just wait till everything's done. Yeah. But it's like that's one of the things that I like about the Raincross, like what Paul's written and what Paul's done, and where, like what we've talked about with Raincross is like just being away from Starfleet, not being the, we're the good crew. Let's go explore. Like it really does delve with like a lot of character development, the closeness of the crew, and getting to explore different people, which my impression of fan films, looking at it from an objective point of view, is they let the story dictate what happens, and the characters usually just come across as bland. With you guys are like, the characters shape the story, because it really does feel, and especially going through the stuff with Paul tonight, outside of reading the scripts and seeing the footage, and you really get that impression looking at the pictures as well, from what we've posted on the YouTube channel. But it's the characters define what happens. I mean, yes, the story is what kind of is around the characters, but the characters shape also the story. Is that fair from your assessment of acting in the Raincross?
It is. And so I mentioned this when you were on my show, that I love Paul's writing, because the banter between myself and Griff and the other people, it feels so natural and feels so comfortable. And the way, there's a lot of technobabble like every Trek series, but it still feels very, all our back and forth stuff. There's a scene later where Griff calls me a furry, and we joke about that, and Alice in Wonderland and stuff. It's just a lot of really fun stuff. And for my part, I was actually wanting to write more character development sections to either splice into the more dramatic parts of the show or other stuff. And to that end, I actually started this morning. Couldn't sleep. I had insomniac, but I couldn't really sleep. So I started writing a script that's all character, no main plot. This is going to be like a one-off side series type thing. And in homage to Next Generation, things like that, it's set on the holodeck. And I have always, my whole life, been a huge film noir fan. Maltese Falcon, Angels in the Dark, stuff like, I love that stuff. So I'm writing a 1940s, 1930s speakeasy film noir holodeck thing with Kyle. And one of the things I did that is the last time we were filming on set, I'd been talking about character development, and Lieutenant Bell, Lauren, had said, one of the things I hate about Bell is that I have to act badly to be an android. I have to act poorly to come across as life. And she goes, I hate, she's such a emotive, wonderful actress. life. And so for her character, I wrote in, she gets to be this breathless, oh, detective, please help me find my brother, just really, over the top, melodramatic. And I wrote for Paul, he's a Tony two-time Lovato. He's a mob boss. He gets to be the bad guy a little bit, gets to be a little more gangster, stuff like that, where the characters get to be flipped around a little and play with different stuff. So we get character development, but also give the actors a chance to expand. And I don't know if we'll ever film this at all. I mean, I may just Paul and he might go, this is terrible. But it's fun for me to get it out of my system and write it. And I think the other actors will get a kick out of it. I'll post it on our little background forum, just for them to read.
See, that's the thing about Paul. And again, I can't speak on his behalf. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll take that and go, man, let's do this. Because the thing that like we talked about on your podcast was he takes ideas and he's like, yeah, let's run with this. Let's do that. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. And I felt a little out of the loop. Because again, I'm not with you guys. I don't film. I don't see, but tonight, working with him, laughing with him, anytime I get the chance to talk to him, I always feel, like minds, just like talking with you on your podcast. I felt, again, like you and I speak the same language,
Very absolutely.
Yeah. But, I felt, finally like, man, this is my position, I know exactly where I fit in. This is, going through the footage, making sure this is where it goes. So when I pass it to the editor, I can speak to them and say, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. And making sure that you guys, who've carried the whole thing and okay, now this is coasting the rest of the way and we can get it done and make you guys look as good as possible. And even because you guys have done the heavy lifting, now we need to make sure it coasts on into the driveway,
Right.
But the one thing about Paul, and I felt that way again tonight, was he never lets any idea go to waste, and he always is very welcoming of anything. So I mean, even though I can't speak on his behalf, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like, yeah, let's try it. Let's do that.
I think he'll enjoy it. I wrote it again as a one-off that has nothing to do with the main plot line, and it's there's half a minute at the beginning on the ship and half a minute at the end on the ship, and everything else takes place in black and white on the holodeck in this very film style, because again, my favorite genre of filming. And it could literally fit anywhere. If you have a season where he's only got 5 episodes and he wants a 6th, or we need to just break a storyline in the middle, really dramatic. There's just been drama in a row. Maybe we can just chuck it in, like give it a little, for the audience to just kind of go, take a breather.
Well, the good thing about something like that is being of the noir, the black and white and everything. It's something that's different because not a lot of people go there. I did something similar with the Valhalla Stone when I did a special edition of it, and I went black and white because I was like, I really wanted it because it was in the Cage era, and it flashed forward to like modern Star Trek. But when I did the special edition, I wanted to go back to when we're in Cage era, let's go black and white. Because I thought, nobody ever does that. And I really wanted that kind of retro Buck Rogers type vibe, the real retro sci-fi stuff, because who really goes there? Especially in, fan films, like everybody wants the super high tech. I was like, no, let's go real grainy.
That is exactly what I want to do with this. I want to go classic Bogart, film noir, Maltese Falcon type, and ridiculous over the top, the one of the lyrics, the name of the short is called 3 Shot Noir, and that's the name of the computer program when Kyle goes in to do this detective work, and he's my name's Kyle. I've got 3 shots of me, one's lead, the other 2 are bourbon. That's where the 3 shots come from, and I think it's just a fun, cheesy, over the top, but just and I love the Next Generation holodeck, especially when Picard does the 40s with the fedora and the
Dixon Hill, yeah.
I love that. So it was so much fun on that show, and I thought, again, in the super ultra modern, Picard era Trek. I'm like, let's do a throwback. Let's put something in there that's just fun, I threatened to write an episode of Tribbles, and Paul said absolutely not. But we're looking. All the actors want more character development. Not that Paul's doing a great job, but we are all looking like, what can we do to expand our characters' stories? And we talked about that last on the set together. And so that's something I'm doing. And it's my first ever really script writing. I've edited scripts. I've worked on film with people and kind of give them ideas, and they write it out. It was my first time actually. I got talked to Paul. I got a not final draft with the other one, the writers, whatever, and started writing a script tonight or this morning. And I'm halfway through Act 2 of a 3-act script, so I'm pretty excited about it.
It's very therapeutic when you're writing a script, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, getting the character in the story that was in my head that kept me awake onto paper is really nice. And as I write it, adding more embellishments and thinking about more stuff. But you gave me a lot of inspiration. He said, just if you have an idea, go out and do it. And I was like, you know what? I think I will. I think I'll write this story. Whether, again, it ever gets published or not, it's not important as to just get it out and do something with it. It is going to be, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think Paul will probably go for it, like you said. I know the other actors I mentioned on our behind the scenes, basically, I was thinking about it, they all went, oh, hell yeah, that sounds fun. Like they were all into it,
That's one of the things, like, most people never get past even the idea stage. They're like, man, this would be a really great idea. And it's like, well, why don't you put it to paper? Well, no, I don't want to do that. No, fuck it, go put it to paper. And then, like, once you get it to paper, why don't you get a couple people around and see if they'll read for it?
Yeah.
And then, why don't you just put it on camera? And then, just see if someone will edit it. And then, I mean, you'd be surprised, like, just those baby steps. But most people never.
I already have. So I've always wanted to write a detective noir type thing like this. I've always wanted to. But I never really, I'm okay coming up with characters, but in this case, it's been fun to take tropes, the breathy dame, the mob boss, the wise guy, and throw in characters we already know from Raincross.
Right.
Like and I know the actors already. One of the things I really want to do, because I just went and saw The Little Mermaid live Broadway production with Pierre, our giant Vulcan, as King Triton. And he has an amazing singing voice. You would never know that on Raincross.
Right.
So in this thing, I have him coming out on stage and doing the Jessica Rabbit, only I think I'm actually going to put him in a dress with a feather boa and make him, wrap around the audience members and sing and do all the sexy, because I think it's just hysterical to see this giant Vulcan doing it. And I remember one of my favorite episodes of Next Generation. I can't remember the name of the actor. I think he was the same guy from the A-Team, but he was he went to the holodeck. He would make these holodeck. He'd make the holodeck with all the other crew members and put them in ridiculous situations, ridiculous costumes, and make them kind of in just funny ways. And I feel like it's something that Kyle would do. I feel like it's something very much that Kyle would do. Envision himself as the hero, and the captain is kind of who he respects, but as a feared mob boss, and the other guys is kind of bumbling, whatever. I just think that's something that Kyle would do. So I think it'd be really, really fun to write, and I'm having a really good time with it. So
yeah,
I will absolutely send you a copy, by the way. I would like your opinion as well. Before I even I'm going to write the rough draft, and then I want to send it to Paul, send it to you, and then I have a friend who's in my stunt intern, who's the ramen across the bar. He's at film school right now to be a script writer. So I'll go, tell me how bad this is or how good it is.
Oh, absolutely! Like I love scripts. Like, I love it when when it's just something you can watch in your head, and then absolutely.
I think this one you can watch in your head. I think this one, as I'm doing it, I can sort of see it in my head, but of course it's my story. But I mean, I feel like if you've watched any kind of film noir, anything, right where the story is going. Like you can, it's very predictable in many ways. The MacGuffin at the end, though, is it's just Kyle's looking for his lost sandwich. That's the whole freaking joke. Like, there's nothing to it. There's this whole involved story with some stunts, ridiculous things, and the whole thing is just like, oh, I found my sandwich, I'm good. Like, that was it. It ends very just cheesy, but I think it'll be fun.
Well, and sometimes that's all the adventure you need. I mean, it's like, you watch Orville?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just watched the finale. My favorite sci-fi.
Dude, mine too. Like, I mean, how many times, how many of us were just waiting for that sandwich to appear,
The
and then
ace
it
salad
finally
sandwich
did.
kind of gave me the idea. That was kind of a great MacGuffin. That was kind of what inspired my, because I was looking for a reason for Kyle to go into this holodeck to be a detective. He's missing something, and that's what I ended up with. Speaking of stunts, you've just now watched Points Unknown and seen. What do you think of my stunt work there in the bar at the end with the breaking bottle and the tossed bodies? What was your? Did you like it? Was it good?
We never watched the footage.
Oh,
It was more organizing. My computer wouldn't let me, and I have to actually, and I forgive me. You asked me about this, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. And I had the sticky note, left it
any
there, and it
consolation?
wasn't there when I. What's
Any
that?
cons? I asked Paul the same time. He hasn't gotten to me either. So it's not just you.
You're like, oh
Been
man,
like
all my
3
friends
days.
are all my friends are neglecting me. But when we were looking through the footage, because Paul had asked me the same. He's like, hey, check out the scene in uh, it's the little bar, and I was like, I can't, because he wanted to show me. Um, and this isn't spoilers because we've already talked about this, and so people will know by the time this airs. The the Patreons that were there were actual they were they were the people,
There was a
and
couple
they
people at the bar when we got there
yeah,
that joined in. Yeah,
yeah, and
the
and
rest
that
all my
was.
dark Elf people, all my pirates that I brought in a bunch of ex pirates that I happen to have and went, hey, you guys want to be in a bar scene?
But that was like, I had told him, I said, just based on the picture, like all I could tell was, because we were looking through everything. And for those at home that don't know, Paul and I, we're going to be taking like once a week, going through one episode, and he's going to be going through the audio and making sure all the files are there, and I'm going to be placing them where they need to go, and he's going to be kind of brushing up the things that I need to know, and I'll be looking for like, hey, what CGI do we need, and we're going to be kind of taking notes, comparing notes. Um, but my computer here, like I'm limited on what I can do. So I see still pictures, but he's the one that has to go through the audio and whatnot. So that being said, uh, he when we were looking at Points Unknown, um, I was complimenting the screen capture picture of the file, because you can see in the bar and like all this detail, and they had shot on location. And the one thing I had mentioned, because my only experience on really shooting on location inside was at a place called Stacy's Restaurant, and it was for a film called Nausea. Uh, and to anyone that's seen that film, it's an alternate timeline that Menard's in, where Menard's kind of a piece of shit, and he's talking to his friend Hawkins, where Hawkins is like, "Look, dude, you need to get your shit together. You're kind of fucking around." And Menard's like, "Yeah, fuck off," and Menard gets up and leaves. Um, so, and it's a good film to anybody that wants to see kind of a "It's a Wonderful Life," except gone
Okay,
wrong. And it really is a great what if you know the characters of the Constar. It's a great film. Go watch it, because you get to see those characters through a different lens, especially one where Menard's not any type of hero at all. And the after credits is very heartbreaking. Even now, I still get misty eyed sometimes when I watch it, because it's a I took some home footage with Royce, and put that in the film, because it's to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. It's basically Menard's held at gunpoint, and it's like what would happen in the final moments of someone's life. And I was like, well, for Menard, this Menard, he's at odds with his adult son, and in his final moments, he kind of thinks of his kid, who he's never going to reconcile with. Um, so that being said, um, go watch that film. It's a great film. But inside that Stacy's Restaurant, you can see all the detail of a real life environment. It's not just a couple of wall flats. We'll put a picture up, and here's
right.
some flowers. So I was complimenting Paul on the detail of their scene, and how you can tell it's just a real place and looks great. And he brought up that there were those were, a couple of them are real Patreons. I was like, oh, that's really cool, but I couldn't play the file.
Yeah, we got to the bar. There were two people that were there at closing, which was when we got there, and they said, "What are you guys doing?" So I'm bringing in. I brought in personally all the cups and bottles and stuff you see are either mine or one of my pirate guys, my gunnery sergeant, brought in a bunch of really cool alien-looking things, the blood wine cups, and all that. And they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, we're filming this Star Trek." And they said, "That sounds really cool." And so Paul just went, "You want in it? Got some extra costumes." The two of them went, "Yeah, why not?" So then they have to leave about half of the scene because they couldn't stay that late, but it's okay because that gives the bar motion and movement and things going on.
Right.
When we first shot that scene, it didn't. We had to reshoot it every time, didn't work out well. And I brought in I think 15 extras out of my pirate group, plus we had those two there, so there's about 17 people altogether that were not actors, which the other 7 of us or 8 of us main actors as well. It was really cool. It was a neat experience, and I got to get really big full body stunts, and got to do was really.
Well, that's the thing. Like working, we've talked about before about you doing your own stunt work. What you do that for? Do you do that for a living, or?
Since I graduated way back in the wee years of 1993, I've worked as a stuntman in Hollywood most of my life. My day job has been professional photographer, but I've done stunts. I come from a very long Hollywood family. My uncle Rick is a Clio Award winner, Tony Award winner, Academy Award winner. He's almost got the EGOT for hair, makeup, and a stuntman. He's got me on. I've done a ton of films. Actually, I did stunts even technically before I was 18. I did some stunts in Last Action Hero.
Wow.
But that's been my kind of gig. About 4 years ago, I was contacted by this film school down in Escondido, California, called John Paul the Great Film Academy. It's a Catholic film school down there, and they hired me because they need some pirates and some pirate props, which of course again I have warehouses of. I run the largest pirate acting troupe in the Southwest U.S. We do Renaissance fairs and pirate festivals and museum openings and things like that. So I brought down pirate props and I did some stunts on that, and then another guy called me up and said, "Hey, I hear you guys do stunts. You don't happen to do or have any Western?" I said, "Yeah, actually, we have an Old West Victorian spinoff of our pirate group." So we did a Old West film. Another guy called me and said, "Hey, I don't need Old West or pirate. I'm doing an underground fight club scene. I just need a bunch of bodies. I know you have access to hundreds of extras, basically. A pirate group, 150 people." I said, "Yeah, we'll come on down." And he goes, "Hey, I've already got a stunt coordinator for this film, but we need in the background while people are walking in a couple of just background fights. Can you coordinate those?" And I was like, "Yeah, my Uncle Rick's a stunt coordinator. I've been a stunt man my whole life. I will try it." So I coordinated a couple stunt fights for that and another film they did. And then the professor of the school called me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this feature short film. I need a stunt coordinator. Would you be willing to be a stunt coordinator for the film?" I said, "Look, I'll be very honest. I've never been the stunt coordinator for a film before. This is 2019 now. So I've never done it officially. But I believe I have the skills to do it. And it's not a long film. And, there's not explosions and guns. It was samurai, Western, and pirate, all 3 of which I'm very comfortable with." So I said, "Yeah." So I did it. And because he's part of the school, anytime anybody else had a stunt thing they needed a stunt coordinator for, they'd call me up now. And so this has now been, I think, Raincross is now my 5th or 6th project where I'm the stunt coordinator, not a stunt man, which is good. As I get older, as I hit my late 40s, I'm a lot more comfortable making other people get beat up and hit the ground rather than me. So
Right.
It is becoming a thing. And so as of this last week, I announced on the show, I'm forming the Academy of Swashbuckling Arts, which is a stunt school and a group of stunt performers. So both a school where I'm teaching people how to do stunts, and also the people I already know and do stunts with me, we're going to be able to hire stunt performers as well. And that's why I needed the footage from you, because I want to build a sizzle reel of some stuff I've done recently and show, things I've done. And that's kind of where I'm moving towards now as a, I don't know if it's going to be day photographer is still pretty much going to be my day job, but I think as the art market died considerably because of COVID, I think that this is still something I can work on. And the school wants me to come down now quarterly. They have a lot of special guest lectures. Paul Rudd teaches voice acting down there. So they want me to come down as a special guest lecture quarterly and do a stunt class and talk about. They don't offer stunts part of the curriculum at the school. So
Wow. That's really exciting. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, the Academy of Swashbuckling Arts. I literally just soft launched the webpage this week and put the logo and all that. And I'm getting some sizzle reel and some stills, film, and footage that I've done recently, and with Dark, which is basically where this Academy, my Dark group, and that up, and then we'll see how it goes. It may be a bust. It may just be something I do. You know, I may just teach. I don't have an open like a physical location yet. I'm thinking at first I'll just teach seminar. Come down for a 6-hour class, $25 a person. I'll teach you guys how to do falls, how to do this. I'll run you insurance and the basic introduction to stunts thing. Then if you want to take advanced classes later, I'll kind of do those. Let's see how it goes. But there's a dearth of good stunt schools out there. A couple in LA. They're only in LA, and they're very expensive. And we need better training. A lot of people that are doing films and other stuff are doing it, and they're doing it dangerously. And then you have, even on professional sets like Rust, you have weapon. So I want to be able to help guide the next generation of stunt performers in the right direction. And Paul has been great. He originally was looking for a prop master. He said, "Who can be a prop master?" I said, "Hey, I'll be your prop master. I'll be your stunt master as well." He said, "Yeah, that sounds great." And at first, there were basically no stunts in season 1, and then I wrote those stunts in the end of the episode. And he said that was amazing. I never would have thought about that. And so for season 2, which we just started filming, I got the scripts, and he just literally wrote in. There's a scene he just wrote, Perry and Richard fight, or Pierre and Richard fight, and he goes, "Yeah, I just figured you'd write in the stunts there." Like, and I was like, he knows now that he can trust me, and
Right.
so he just carte blanche to write a whole stunt scene, and I'm very excited about that. So thanks to Paul, I really feel like I've got a outlet for that too. And also in this film I'm currently writing, there's going to be some stunts as well. My little short film noir thing got some stunts. So it gives me a chance to write what I want and to practice being a stunt coordinator. I go and do larger and more films. I have that experience.
Well, and that's the thing. Like it really seems like you guys are doing the stuff that you enjoy doing. Like most people, they get up, they go to a job they hate. They're like, this sucks, But it really seems like you enjoy what you're doing, from the photography, and the stunt stuff that you enjoy doing. I mean, it seems really exciting, man. I mean, that seems fresh, exciting. Like who gets to say that? Hey, I get to write a whole scene. I mean, however you imagine it.
I mean, it's gig work, and gig work can be great or it can be bad.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Making $1,000 in times when I'm struggling to get by and eating top ramen. But I don't do well in a 9 to 5 job. It's not really my thing. So again, I grew up in an artist family, lots of actors, magicians, musicians, and it's just never been my cup of tea. So I enjoy doing what I do.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I like that. I dig that a lot. So going for season 2, because you guys have just wrapped, you've all just wrapped season 1. You
Correct.
guys are just now starting season 2.
We wrapped season 1, and part of that end of season 1, episode 6, ends, and it fades into season 2, episode 1. So we wrapped a little bit of season 2 as well. Just started the same day we wrapped season 1. We started season 2.
So what would you say, giving a general vibe? What would you talk about, like the whole thing of season 1? What would you talk about storyline wise? What do you feel comfortable talking about storyline wise? The characters go from where they start, where they end.
Well,
So
I'm not in season 1, episode 1 or episode 3. That's the other Lieutenant Kyle, and so I don't even know. I haven't even read the script for episode 3. I have no idea where we go from 2, where we all meet in the bar basically, and we get to know each other, and then we jump right into the action of 4, 5, and 6, which is a lot of the Phantom and exploring and all this kind of gun battle and cool stuff. And we're playing on the Stranglehold, which is an amazing group that's been around forever. It's very interesting. The group Stranglehold is a Klingon group that does a play every year at Comic-Con for the last 20 plus years. They've been doing this. And Stranglehold also has to be a pirate group that does the same fair circuit that we do. So the guy Dennis, who runs the head of Stranglehold, is a very close friend of mine. I knew him as a pirate first, and as a Klingon later. When Paul's looking for Klingons, I'm like, I know just the group. So from what I've seen and what I've pieced together, it's a neat story, and it's basically this whole season one is us getting to know each other, and it's kind of very Deep Space Nine, no, Voyager, wherever. One with Mulgrew, Janeway, where they go out in the middle of nowhere.
Voyager.
Yeah, okay. Same thing. We're in far frontier space. We're way far away, and we're kind of just figuring stuff out on our own with a skeleton crew. Kind of like Odyssey, actually, which I just finished watching that, by the way. And it's really neat. I'm excited to see where season 2 goes. Paul's got us kind of a bunch of plot lines on different planets, but these kind of the crew's very separated in the whole. In season 2, we're in different. We're not together in season 2 at all.
Right.
The first couple episodes, and that's cool too. I think again we barely scratched the surface of that. But season 1, I think we really came together as a group. I think really the actors. I mean, a lot of us knew each other from Dickens Fair. We joke, we call Raincross Dickens in space. But it's been a lot of fun. It was really neat reading Paul's writing and then acting it out and seeing it come to life. I'm really excited to see the episodes. Like I cannot wait for episode 2 to pop out. I was talking to Paul, and I don't know if he talked to you about it or not. I was thinking we might want to re-release episode 1 with the Raincross credits in the beginning, and then the thing, and then the end credits, and then the Phantom scenes or whatever else, so that when we post them, they all have a continuity to a certain extent. Because right now, the Raincross episode 1 is really a Constar Chronicles Raincross thing. Or if we want to maybe try and get it all, I don't know if we do or not, but I'm thinking it might be a good idea for people to follow easier.
The only that wouldn't be a bad idea, but the only issue with that I would have would be there's like 30,000 views, and that's like
Right.
the largest. Yeah, when you divide, it's kind of why I partnered up with Frank, because Frank Parker, that's my partner on the channel now, because he initially was working with me on quite a few films, and I saw that he was like, hey, he was like, hey, would you mind if I had this video that I'm in of yours, since I'm in it? And I was sure, why not, and then we did another one. He said, hey, could I have this one too, since I'm sure, why not, and his channel, I think, only had like maybe 100 subscribers. Like, it was a very small channel.
Right.
And I saw, I was like, you're posting the same thing I'm posting, and it's kind of dividing the audience.
I don't want to post on a new Raincross channel. I'd still keep it on the Constar channel. I was just thinking, so that if you're watching like a playlist, you would have credit episode, end credits, credits. So it fell more into the,
Well, I mean, the Raincross has its own playlist, so anyone who wants to come to the channel can see that it has its own playlist. But the problem with re-releasing, even, I mean, if we did a special edition, we could do that. But even at that case, you still divide the audience, because which one do I watch? And then you take away views from one. I mean, I don't. If Paul said, hey, I really want to do this, okay, that's fine. But
it was a thought I had, and it wasn't an important thought, but it was a thought I had.
Here would be my thing, and this I'm going to throw this at you. Think it over, and let me know if we were to do that. I would want to justify it more than just simply the beginning and after credit, or I mean, beginning and then end credits. My thing would be this: since the other Lieutenant Kyle is in the Raincross,
right.
why don't we have, if we were to do that, why don't we have you in the special edition, and then that would justify creating a special edition. Therefore,
do that. I think I have not read the script for season 3. I know in episode 1 he's only on the screen, so that would be really easy to replace me with very easily. Right. I don't know anything about episode 3 at all. Whether if they interacted with their crew, if they had, obviously that'd be a lot more to refilm.
Right.
But that was not out, so we could just. I mean, if Kyle's different in one episode, that might be cool. I had a question too. So one thing,
sure,
about Raincross when I first saw it,
sure.
After credit sequence with the Phantom with the big tube. Um,
With what now?
the after credit sequence of Raincross episode 1.
Uh-huh.
There's a very long after credit sequence. It's like
Yeah.
almost the same length as the episode as the after credit sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and this is with no offense to you meant at all, was very hard to follow because there's no narration. It just shows some ships, and I recognize like one clearly Starfleet. There's some other wing ships I don't recognize. There's a cube, which my first thought was Borg, but I guess the Phantom ship. I'm like, there was a lot going on there that I didn't follow, and it's very long to kind of get through without narration. There's some light music in the background, and I was kind of like, this could use some description or some sort of help for people that are brand new to this channel or brand new to the series. Like, it's very confusing. I'm not going to lie. Like, I sat there going, I don't understand what's going on here. I watched the whole thing out of respect for, I mean, I said the increments of every film because I respect creators, but I was like, I don't get this at all. And there's nothing to explain it at all. If you've never watched the Concert Universe, it is really, I mean, don't get me wrong. Marvel's the same thing. They throw stuff at you in the increments. You're like, who is that? Thanos has a brother? Wait, who's that girl that's a hole in multiverse? Like, I don't understand, like, there's a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. But in the case of this one, I did have a hard time following. I was wondering if there's something we could add.
Well, here's
maybe edit it down so it's not as long. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I tried to. Well, there's an in-story reason why we couldn't do a voiceover, because, and there's a real reason why it's so confusing, and which I completely understand why. So in story, that's why I had Grissom, bring it up as a log entry, and then in the log entry and do that, because I figured, okay, he's watching the stuff, so that justifies all this random shit stuff, ship stuff.
Right.
So okay, justifies that. That's my in and that's my out. Okay, so there's that. Because a voiceover, at that point, you can always kind of tell when I'm kind of just like, when my brain's kind of clicked off, and I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm ready for bed. I'm ready for that Netflix time. No,
I get it.
So, and it's always like, and you can always tell when I have like a lot on my plate, because I'm always like, hey Frank, can you help me out? Film this, please. Or hey Paul, I need your help. Film this, please. Because I'm always like, hey, either Sean, or Reimer, or Paul, or Frank Parker. Like, those three guys are kind of my go-to. Or Greg Mitchell if he can, because those guys, every time I'm like, hey, I really need this. Here you go. I can always pass it off, and then I can go do my other 20 projects. So that was the real world / fake world. So here's the reason why you have basically like 6 minutes of fucking CGI, and it's great, but it's also infuriating. So for another film that I was supposed to have, which was supposed to be the ISS Constar leaving the space dock, and the Borg comes, and it was supposed to be the Mirror Universe equivalent of Wolf 359. And all I really needed was like 30 seconds of CGI. And I had told one of my CGI guys and visual effects guys, I said, this is all I need. And what I'd really like at the end of it is, I want this cube to be so large that when the Cardassian and the Klingons are shooting at it, it just kind of crushes over it, like you would walking through an anthill. Like, it's just not even on its radar. And I want the Constar to fly away like, man, fuck this, we're out of here. Because that's all I really need. 30 seconds, maybe a minute total of CGI. That's all I really, just scattered throughout, so I can film this stuff.
And you got minutes.
So I'm sitting there with all this stuff, and I'm like, what? I don't know what to do with this. And then COVID happened, and I can't make it to the studio to film. So I'm left with 6 minutes of CGI that sat for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what do you do? And at that point, like, we're in the height of COVID. I ain't going nowhere. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just make this a log entry that Grissom's watching. I can slip this into an after credits, and at least the people will see the CGI work that's done. So it has its flaws. It's not how I want to do this, but I don't believe anything should ever be on the cutting room floor. But here we go.
Okay.
So that's the real world, and it's not how I wanted it. But you can always tell where I'm just like, man, I've got all these other things I wanted to. I was approaching the end of my season. I think Raincross in that season was, I think, the third episode to my last. It was like third to my last episode, and I was like, man, I'm burnt out. I'm tired. I want to finish up and take a break. And I was just like, what do I got to do to get this off my plate? So, so that's the real world, and then in universe why it wouldn't work as a voiceover. So,
Well, I wonder if we do a special edition where we replace me with Kyle, which would not. I mean, I could do that in 10 minutes on my fucking green screen. I still have it set up from when I did your stuff. I wonder if we cut it a little bit, like maybe edit maybe 3 minutes instead of 6. Like it is, like you said, almost infuriatingly long. Like I want to skip through it, and I didn't because again, I have a lot of respect for creators, but I think other people might get turned off. Just there's just long sequence that has no explanation at all.
I don't know. That's something I'd have to talk with Paul about. I kind of like the long battle. Just seeing, because again, this is
your guys' universe. I'm just playing it. It's your guys' universe. I'm just here, but this is me offering an outside perspective of someone who just came into it and they didn't know anything about it. I was very confused.
To those that know, if I were to redo it now, I would probably keep the CGI going, but have Grissom narrating it, so at least we have some perspective instead of just the music, because I think the music's great. I think the operatic music I think works. And of course, this is something to talk to Paul about, because even though it's my film, it's something where I've always, whenever we work on a film together that has his character, if he says, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with this, I'd rather do that." Hey, not a problem.
Sure.
Let's absolutely, just like if I had said, "Hey, this is the script," and you said, "Hey, I don't want these two lines. I want to switch it to hey, not a problem. Let's absolutely, because I do the same on mine. If someone says, "Hey, I want Menard to do this," and I'm like, "Ain't happening, man."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I were to, if we did a special edition, which again I'm open to, but I would probably,
I just throw my 2 cents in there because I did mention to pause. And maybe because right now we have it as Raincross at Constar. Constar presents kind of the Raincross as part of the Constar series, but it means now we're starting Raincross as its own thing. Maybe we can, kind of adjust it a little bit. And it'd be interesting. I don't know if it's the right move. It's just a thought. So I wanted to put it out there.
Well, to me, that's completely Paul's thing. If he wants, I'm fine with that. I mean, to me, it's been, again, I think a video that has 30,000 views, something that takes away
really
from that.
good. Yeah, no, I don't really want to take away from that either. That was my other thing, but I just, because it's got a lot of views. It's great, and if you put it in the playlist, it's the first one. It makes sense. But it was.
But then again, flip side. I think if you were to make a special edition and release it like the same day as episode 2 and say, "Hey, this goes hand in hand with this," I mean, but again, I think we would need more than just changing the credits, because doing something like that, like, make it justifiable to have it, but I would release it hand in hand with episode 2 and say, "Hey, we have a special edition here," because you said you're in episode 2, having you be Lieutenant Kyle in episode 1 for that special edition might also prepare somebody for the change. It's the Darren Stevens thing that we talked about.
Right. I don't want to take away from Kyle Anders's performance. But like for episode 1, I mean, he's got like one half scene where he's talking for about a minute. I mean, it's not like it's a lot of dialogue in episode 1. I don't think he'd care if we read episode 1. Obviously, episode 3, I think, having not read the script, I don't know how much he's in it or not. But I think it's not even out yet, so I'm not. I think episode 3 just go on where suddenly I'm different for one episode, and that's probably fine. But I think it would be cool. I wonder then if we did a special edition for episode 1 with me as Kyle, a different after credit scene that's more Raincross oriented, or I mean, I don't know. I don't want to take away from Concert Chronicles either because it's obviously super cool and I love the shared universe.
I don't know. Again, that's something that I have to talk to Paul about. I think if
that might be something else for special edition. We might go replace this now in a different credit, something with the Phantom or something we could knock out quick or something. I don't know. Again, just spitballing here because I have no idea of that. Maybe for special edition we also change the after credits so that's a completely different feel than the Raincross saga specifically.
But I mean, if you change the after credits, it kind of changes the film.
I agree. I'm not saying please don't think I'm going to try and insult your film. I really, really like it. I do.
Oh no, I don't. Oh no, I don't take it as. I mean, it's one of those things where justifying why we're doing it.
Or a second sequence. Maybe we have that and we add another special edition, something that again is Raincross specific. So it we do the Phantom battle sequence, and before it fades out, we do one more. Kyle and Griffin playing poker or something. Just whatever we can toss in there to make it add something an additional special edition. We add more footage.
I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to talk to Paul about it and see what he thinks. Me personally, I kind of just think we're focusing. I think episode 1 is kind of going backwards. I think focusing mostly on episode 2, going for 3, because in my head, and I could be wrong, I've always seen the Raincross series as kind of the spinoff of the Constar Chronicles, and I kind of just think is like DS9 is the spinoff of Next Gen.
Sure.
Because I mean at a certain point, at what point would you, I think Paul's been in, 5 or 6 of my films.
Mm-hmm.
What point would we switch it? Episode, I mean, technically, I guess you call it episode 1, but I mean, it Raincross is a Constar Chronicle. It was never, Raincross episode 1. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's
that's
like, well,
we have the Constar Chronicles Raincross episode, and then maybe if we release it as episode 1, replace me, add some credits. And I was also the one thing and maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Is there music playing or any kind of background noise while he's talking at all? Because I felt like it was very quiet on the bridge when he was talking, like no chatter, no chirps, nothing. It felt a little bit in a void. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong because I haven't watched it in a couple weeks.
For which one? For when
Raincross,
who was talking?
Yeah.
For when who was talking on the bridge?
When Otto's talking, is there any kind of ambient noise in that or no?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been so long. Like, I mean, I've seen the film like a million times, but it's been forever. Like once you've seen the film like 100 times, it's like I'm good. I couldn't tell you. All I remember is like at the end, I had the that Doctor Who sounding music at the end, like where it has that ding ding ding, and it just continues going. That's all I really remember. Like I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously that like if I were to redo it, also I would change the CGI and have the Raincross actually moving with the Odyssey and having the Odyssey flying up to, actually seeing it instead of being an actual, just a picture, But again, there comes a point where because I mean, I've looked at a lot of my films before and been like, oh, we should do this as a special edition, or oh, we should do this as a special edition, or oh, we should do this, or maybe we should add music to this, or because I mean, there's a lot of my films where it's like I just didn't put music in it because I'm like,
Well,
going
yeah,
to take
and you
forever.
learn as you go along too, and you go back and look at your earlier stuff and go, ooh, maybe not. I get
Yeah.
that. And if you guys decide not to do it, I will not be offended. But maybe it's because there's Raincross as an episode of Concert Chronicles, and now there's Raincross episode 1 going forward in this new series we're launching. Maybe it's time to go back and fix some things. We thought, well, maybe this isn't what we want. Maybe we can add some new things. Put me in there. We can add some music or add some whatever. Like you said, a different graphic of the ship coming up, or what a moving graphic. That might be a cool thing to do. Just because there's a reason for it now, and that is the reason now is that Raincross is becoming its own series with seasons and episodes and all that. Maybe if you ever was a time to do it, this would be the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's something to talk to Paul about. I mean, I'll run it past him, see what he thinks.
I didn't mean to hijack your show with talking my ideas about my show, but it was something that popped up. I thought, it could be a thing, and if it isn't, I'm again 30,000 views is nothing to sneeze at. I'm super proud of the whole series and just being a part of it, even stepping into a role somebody else already had. I'm totally fine with. But maybe if there was time,
I mean, worst case scenario, it's another video to put up and be like, someone watched it, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I said, I mean, it gives you a reason, if you're going to make it a completely new, thing, again, the things to change are the CGI, but that's if the CGI artist isn't busy or doing it. Like I said, I don't know if the time is. I mean, it would be the perfect time to do it, but I don't know if the time, because you have to look at the CGI people. I know that looking at future episodes, those things take time. Are they going to be available to work on those ones or work on a special edition?
Right.
Those are factors there. Music people also are the same way. Are they going to be focused on future episodes? Or are they going to be focused on this one? Editors, are they going to be focused on the future? Are they going to be focused on? So it's like, I mean, just that one.
I get it. A lot going on for everything.
But I do like the idea of, possibly going back to, because the one storyline that we had that I thought was kind of cool was the sister stuff between Paul's daughter, and did you ever see that film?
That I have not. Is that the episode 3 stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, you can technically call that a Raincross episode because that has to do with the daughter. It takes place after Menard has sent the Raincross off, and I was fascinated. I was like, oh, she's playing a Bajoran there too. I was like, well, let's do a half daughter, the human, daughter, because she played Banco for on the Odyssey. In fact, I think it was Odyssey Part. I think it was Odyssey Part 1 or no. I think it was Odyssey Part 2. Yeah, I think it was Odyssey Part 2 she's in, and she plays Banco. Yeah, because she's my first officer, but she plays, since I'm not on the ship, Labato's technically temporary captain of the Odyssey, and she's the XO. But in the film, when I found out that she was playing the Bajoran officer for you guys, I kind of came up with the idea. I was like, well, what if they're like half sisters, and then we can, what if she's like, now since Menard basically let you guys go, Starfleet's like, man, fuck you, Menard, like we're taking part of your crew away. Like, how pissed off would she be? And then like these two, like this sets up her, the Bajoran sister, like she kind of calls the Banco, and it's kind of like, you kind of talk shit on me, and now you're kind of in the same boat I'm in, and they're kind of like,
right.
So it was kind of a cool small story, but it gave is it Olivia her name? Olivia, right?
Yeah, Olivia, yeah. Correct.
Again, I'm terrible with names. But it gave her a nice chance to shine. She did really good playing both parts, especially opposite herself, on the comm box.
In episode 2, she plays opposite a bunch of herself, so that'll
what's
be really
that now?
fun. In season 2, she's on a planet where they all take her form, so that'll be multiple Lenas on the new season.
But that was that was one, so technically that could be like a Raincross episode as well, so again, I if we were to do like an after credits thing, I kind of would like to follow up that storyline. So again, it's one of those things where, where do you draw the line, and are the people even available for that, or are they only available for something going forward? So I don't know, I'll talk to Paul about it and see,
Right,
again.
Run up the flagpole. Let's find out. Again, I won't be offended either way. It really has nothing to do with me at all. I mean, for continuity's sake of taking that and putting it so we have that. I would love to see for the Raincross episodes going forward. You have the opening credits, the title of the episode, and then moving into the episode. With the way Concert Chronicles is a little bit different, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to make it all sort of streamlined.
Well, see, in my mind, and it may be something else to talk to Paul about. In my mind, I always saw Points Unknown as episode one. I never saw Raincross as episode one. I always saw that as this is kind of the prequel,
Okay.
So, and that was in my mind, because I never saw Raincross as. What's that now?
I can see that, and maybe we can talk to Paul about. I think because he wanted 6 episodes per season, that's why he made that episode one.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we can talk about renumbering the episodes where Points Unknown is episode one, because we basically in episode 2 we pretty much talk about why we're there and what's going on. So we basically cap episode 1 in episode 2 for people that hadn't seen it. I think so. Maybe it could be episode 1. That might be something else talking about, us maybe just renumbering the episodes.
Yeah, like I said, you'll like I said, you guys will have your own playlist on the channel and everything, but I also understand, uniformity, because I'm kind of a stickler on that, because for like one season I have everything done this way, and then another season I have it done this way, and then another season it's this way, and then after a certain while I have music titles, and then another way I have it this, so I mean, I completely see what you're saying.
I'm actually with you. If we actually just renumber the episodes where Points Unknown is episode 1 and Raincross is sort of a 0 episode, introduction episode from Constar, then it wouldn't matter that we didn't have the credits and didn't have the same flow as all the other episodes. Then it would be fine just the way it is. We wouldn't need to go back to a special edition, unless we really wanted to, which again, I'm totally down. I mean, I could record those lines in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like I said, it's an interesting idea. Like I said, it's my own personal thing was I always saw it as just kind of a prequel, because I always saw it as you guys are a jump off series, because I know that's what Artimage is. I know that's what Lexington Adventures is. I know that's what Starship Manchester is. Like it's all just like an extension, and that's what I saw Raincross as. Even though I know Raincross kind of was its own kind of thing before Paul and I kind of came together. And then I was like, "Hey, would you mind?" And he was like, "Oh no, dude, yeah, let's do it." But like I always just kind of saw it as, it's a spinoff. That's how I saw it, and I never.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm actually, again, that plan going forward actually works for me just as well. Is just starting to
Paul, if you're listening, if you want to go that route of Raincross being a prequel, and then you only have 5 episodes, and you really want 6. I've heard a great writer that's writing a wonderful holodeck episode that,
right. So I will tell you, the one thing about this episode that I'm writing is it's going to require, there's a lot of location shots, at least one location shot in a speakeasy, which I have a location in mind that I think we might be able to use. But then there's a detective office. It's definitely not green screen. This is like there's a warehouse. There's 3 parts: the detective's office, the speakeasy, with also has an office for Lovato, and then the warehouse in the sequence at the end. So it's all practical sets, which means finding pieces and then getting. And again, the one thing about Raincross is difficult is we have a huge cast, and I've written everybody into this episode because I want everyone to have a chance to shine, at least for a little bit. And so it's getting them all together, on days that we have time off and whatever else. So it may take a while to film this episode. It may not appear till season 4 for all I know.
Well, I tell you, man, if there's a spot on the TV or something you can fit Menard, I'll gladly film something for you, man, because I'm always down to do something. I mean, I don't think it'll I don't know how you would do it, but I'd love to film something for you, man. Because even if you
If I
got me,
if I can find a way to write you into that, I will. Again, because it's set in the 30s, it's a little harder to bring. But then again, even just to talk back and forth, I'll work on that. I just started the script, so I'm still tackling.
well, no worries, man. Because I mean, you got to make this. Like I tell people when they come to me, because a lot of people come to me, they're like, dude, get me in. I'm like, you got to make the story work. Like sometimes it just doesn't.
Right.
So I get it, man. I get it. But no, man. Uh, I tell you, I looking tonight with Paul, I felt really energized looking at what you guys have coming. And like I told him, in your guys' visuals for especially in episode 2, seeing uh, what is it, like the stairwell and the building, like the
Yeah.
architecture of the buildings that you guys, like the scope of what you guys have. It's just like I told him, I was like, it's kind of like watching Star Trek Picard, and you're looking outside the admiral's, like you're looking outside the admiral's
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
and usually in like fan films, you'll see the generic stock footage, and you're like, there's a typical shuttle flyby. But in Star Trek Picard, like it looked just more real. And that's what your
Right.
guys' stuff, like, because it is real. You can
We're
go
using a lot of
walk out
practical sets. Yeah, I love practical sets. Again, fix it and pre. Green
there.
screen is great. Especially for things we need for green screen. Green screen is great. Obviously, lots of we can't do. But if at
Right.
all possible, I prefer physical sets and practical stuff because it just looks better. It reads more real on camera.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And that's like I think you guys are gonna have um I think you guys are gonna have a film that's, or films a step above a lot of the rest, just because it doesn't need to be about the explosions or the battle or the CGI. Like it's just about the realism of what you guys have to offer, and the content of the characters from what I've read, and the chemistry you guys seem to have. Uh, you know, I'm very excited for what you guys have, both as a producer on the film and as a fan. Because especially now we need really good content. To keep us entertained, something we can share with our friends and go, hey, check this out. It's pretty good, because there's a lot of crap out there. But you guys seem to, you guys have a
I
really
feel
good
very
point.
strongly about the production a lot. I feel very, when I first came in, the first episode we ever did was the first time we tried to shoot Occam's, and it was kind of turned out cheesy and it wasn't really great. But then as I got comfortable being able to speak up, as I mentioned on my show, let's really, really do this right. And, now we've got a cinematographer, which we didn't have up until really season 2 now. We got a new cinematographer who's knows green screen and knows editing as well. So he knows what to shoot so it turns out right. And we have me coming in with, I have 30 plus years of film and television experience, and we're putting together what I feel is going to be, yes, fans here, it's going to look professional. I want to look professional and really have and I think that was probably my biggest issue with the 6-minute CGI at the end of the first episode. It just felt, it was the one part that kind of, like you said, it was kind of infuriating to just sit through all that kind of,
Yep.
it's a lot to get through, and it doesn't really match the rest of the tone of the
Well,
episode, in my opinion, which is
and
very
that was,
character.
and that's why I always saw it as like not your guys' first episode. Like it was, to me, it always felt like, oh, this is the jumping off point. This isn't your guys's, like this isn't your guys's adventure. This is just the jumping off point. This is,
And I like
once.
that a lot. I do kind of like that idea a lot, where that's, instead of being episode 1, that's episode 0. I'm really leaning that way. It's the
Yeah,
easiest way to get around keeping it constant,
yeah.
flow. I'm fine with these season 1 5 episodes. Or again, if we can find a way to, if I can make this episode work and Paul likes it, I would love to shoehorn it in there at episode 1, because
Like,
there's a lot of character development in it too, and it gives you a chance to look at the characters in a different light and see them doing different things.
yeah. To me, the thing about, there are some people that just love that CGI thing. And again, to me, it's a matter of taste. Like you have your people out there that love the eye candy, And for me, it's okay. I mean, I do when it's used appropriately. Um, for me, I like it in small doses. Now, I love the DS9 episode Sacrifice of Angels when they're going to fight to go retake DS9. I think it's some of the best visuals because you actually see the independent ships, but it's not so overbearing where you're like, God, my mind feels like clay.
Sure.
However, when you compare story A with story B, it's very jarring, and that's why I tried to use Grissom in there from the Star Trek Picard era because I thought, well, at least they're from the same time period, and I'll put that Sasha Menard because that'll tie into something later on, and I'm always about trying to set something up later, and
Sure.
build. And it's one of those things where, again, if I had a chance to redo it, hey, you too, man, take care, brother. Um, but it's one of those things where, again, like I always felt like this is a jumping off point. This isn't, Raincross to me. And again, if Paul always has the final say, whether I'm a producer or not, he has like this is
Okay.
his baby. To me, I always felt like Raincross as a series should always be, uh, you guys are out there, you have started the adventure, you're done. Like just because to me, it's like when you watch Star Trek, the TV show, it really starts, where no man has gone before, or that one with the salt creature or whatever. No one ever really watches the cage. You can kind of just skip that one, and that's
Sure.
where you can kind of skip Raincross, the film. I mean, I don't think people will, and I'm sure it'll be
Right.
part of
Right.
the playlist. But like you said, it's episode zero. It's issue zero of a comic book. It's
Yeah. Or
this is
yeah, pilot, whatever. Like, but not
yeah
necessarily episode one. Yeah.
yeah yeah
If we rename it as Raincross pilot, basically, or call it pilot, and then just start with points and notes episode one, I think that would actually work really well as far as continuity goes. I think it would be even
yeah.
easier than doing a special edition. But again, if we were going to do a special edition, this would be the time. Like this is a good time to
Yeah.
do it. But I don't mind. Kyle Anders and I, the original actor of Lieutenant Kyle, look enough alike. We have balding, gray beard. Like most of your casual audience that doesn't actually know us as people probably wouldn't even notice, honestly.
No,
Although again,
but
having not
but
seen
for
episode 3, I have no idea how much he's in it or how much banter there is or what's going on there. So
no, but for me, again, those are the things that I would change. If we were to go back and do a special edition, hey, he and it's no disrespect to Kyle. I thought his performance was great. But hey, if we're going to do something, let's justify. Personally, I would scrap the entire after credits, and I would make it I would have Raincross special edition, and do the credits, the intro like you got, like we have for the series, have the exit credits, um, but then have the after credits. I probably would have it tie in with Olivia's character, uh, with sister, something setting up because that's tied into another Constar story, that I did,
sure,
where
yeah,
where you can kind of play that off. It's something you can shoot fairly quickly, and it gives the audience something that's brand new. And I'd get rid of the CGI thing because again, that was a Constar idea, and it's not a Raincross thing. But again, that's what I would do. But again, that's one of those things where that's kind of moving back and not moving forward.
right.
But you're absolutely right. This would be the time. But looking at resources, is this really where the resources
That's
should go?
that's I know that because we're all working for free. We're all doing this in our spare time. We're all like I
Wait,
totally.
you're not getting paid a
I'm
billion.
not getting paid.
What? I'm waiting for my check to come through, Paul. We need to discuss some things, man. Something's off here. But
um,
well, I gotta head
anyway,
back to work
I put
here.
a lot.
Oh,
Speaking of not getting paid, I put a lot of my own personal money into this project. I really enjoy it, and it's something that like. I'm willing to pay to do as a hobby. I bought myself a Picard era phaser. I'm head of security. I needed to have one, and I got one. And then we talked about the consoles we're gonna have in season 2. Paul said, "Hey, there's these foam mats, desk mats you can get that have the buttons on them. So at least when we're going to green screen over it anyhow, but like at least you have a physical reference. Well, I found one that's the exact size of my console, and it has LED lights in it. So even if we're going to green screen over it, I'll still have some light on my face blinking, and it'll look more fix it and pre. It'll look more realistic, and I'm very excited. I spent $50 or $45 on that thing. But I'm like, yeah, this is cool, and I can use it on my desk at home just for fun, you know. But I was really, I put a lot of money into this. The uniform, I know for season 3 or 4, we're changing to the even more modern Picard uniforms, the wraparound, and I'm gonna need to buy that uniform too at some point. And I put a lot into it, no money, but it's a hobby or a passion project that I'm really enjoying.
Well,
And it also gives me a chance to write a lot of stunts as an ongoing series. I'm not just writing, a stunt for a movie or one fight scene. I'm doing this multiple times over, and it's going to help me get practice and give a chance for my stunt interns, my stunt students to get involved, and it just really is a lot of fun.
Well, I will say the Star Trek Picard season 2 uniforms are wonderful. They look wonderful. They feel great. And that's the one thing, whether you like the seasons 1 and seasons 2 of Picard, whether you think they're great or you think they suck, the one thing you have to admit is the uniforms look pretty good.
Yeah, they do.
All 3 of them, they've given cosplayers something to buy, so, I gotta say, I was torn. I was like, I don't really want to buy this, but God dang it, it looks so good,
Yeah, Paul showed me his on the last filming day. We're filming wrapping season 1. I was like, it's like, yeah, I have these for the season 3 or 4. And I'm like, yep, I need one. Like, I guess I gotta have one at some point.
It's good. Really cool. It looks good. It looks good. But hey, man, I gotta head to work here. So I gotta go grab my numbers. But I gotta say, man, it was a pleasure having you on, man, and bullshitting with you. It's a pleasure, just like it was last time. And we gotta do this again soon. So
absolutely, anytime you want to. I mean, I'm always up late. You want to do a pizza roll episode? I'm here for you. And I think probably as we get midway through the season 1 of Raincross, more episodes start coming out and all that. I'd love to be back on Smoking the Frogs. We can talk, about your feelings of where it's going as a spinoff series that you kind of helped launch this baby. I want your opinion once we have some finished episodes and see what you think of how the storyline is going and all that as well. So.
Well, I'd actually either next week or the week after, like when me and Paul are actually looking through some of the footage, I may actually just have you on with us, because just like now how we're recording it, like it's me and him looking at the Google Drive, so I may just add you to the folder and you can look at it with us and just kind of bullshit with us while him and I are looking through so even if you're not looking at it with us, you can just bullshit with us while we're talking and go through memory lane, because to me it was great.
I've sort of been a de facto since, especially with the last episode we filmed, the Ockhams. Paul's kind of me. He hasn't. I mean, there's not a fifth title. I've kind of been executive producing in the sense where he's like, "Hey, I want your opinion on the camera angle. I want your opinion on lighting. We've done this before. Like, I've been putting a lot more into this than just stunt master, prop master, and actor at this point. Right. I'm putting a lot into it. So I'd be happy to join and at least shoot the shit with you guys.
Yeah, so. Like it was great fun. Like I said, it was. Because my specialty is looking, figuring out where the pieces go, and then being like, all right, here we go. Paul knows exactly where everything goes. So it was like him and me just talking. And again, we were just reminiscing and talking and while we were going through stuff. And it was great, but I'd love to sit there and have you on, because I think it would be great footage for people at home, and even though I told them, I'm like, hey guys, you're just going to be, a lot of this is going to be you listening to us look at the screen while we're talking. Again, that's kind of what we're doing now, is that we're talking to each other, but yeah, it's, if you want to join us, at least for one episode, I don't see a problem with that. And Paul and I weren't really caring too much about spoilers, except for like, there was one thing that he was like, yeah, no spoilers on this, I don't think. So I'll have to watch myself, but everything else, yeah, let's talk about. I was like, great, let's talk, but yeah, I think it'd be great to have you on and get your input.
Also, I'd love to be there. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome. So you hear that, audience? When he doesn't show up, blame Paul. So
or scheduling, but yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
There you go. So
Dan, it's been a really has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this quite a bit, and I'm almost done with my cigar anyhow, so it's about time.
All right, my friend. With that being said, everybody in the audience, thank you for joining us. And Richard, thank you for joining me. So everybody, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.
All right, fail upwards. Bye bye.